look at Floyd. Like, Floyd spends money like it's a tap. Like, he's got a tap, just like unlimited amount of money. Money's just flowing. And even as much money as he's made in his career, which he's probably made as much, if not more money than any boxer ever. Like, there's all these lawsuits. Like, he hasn't been paying things, and he owes money on this and owes money on that. And it's like, and then he's got to come out of retirement.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think it's just the lifestyle that Floyd lived.
Yes.
I think he can't fathom to just live a modest lifestyle. It's like he got to be lavish.
Right. He's got to have those videos where he shows you all the watches, where he opens the case up, you know.
All the money. He got to show that he got $1 million in his backpack. And, you know, he got the latest watch and the latest car, and look what I just bought.
And when you get into latest watches and latest cars, you get into that, like, boy, that money goes quick.
Yeah.
Bugattis are like $3 million. There's watches that are $3-5 million. That's crazy. So you buy a watch and a car, you're down 10. That's nuts.
Joe Rogan questioned the entire image surrounding Floyd Mayweather, arguing that there's a major difference between making flashy public claims and actually having verified assets behind them. Rogan pointed out reports suggesting Floyd owns numerous expensive properties worth tens of millions, but emphasized that public perception, luxury displays, and real financial proof are not always the same thing.
And one of the reasons why people watch him fight is not because he's like Mike Tyson, just goes out and destroys people. They like watching him fight because they hate him. Because he talks so much shit, and he's like, look at my $1 million watch, look at my fucking jet, look at my house, look at this. He's like constantly showing you all these things that he has. Like, he'll lay out watches in a hotel bed. Like, this is $1 million worth of watches. This watch goes for $2 million. And they're like, this is my small watch that I take sometimes, but when I'll show you, when I'll show up, I bring out the big boy, and it brings out this watch that's covered in diamonds. It's like $5 million. And so you hate him.
And that Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment. His private jet fuel, he's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets, and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million loan from an individual, from a billionaire that had a 9% interest on the loan.
Rogan questioned the whole narrative around Floyd, saying he owns dozens of buildings worth tens of millions, pointing out that flashy claims and verified assets are two very different things.
He owed that money to the IRS. How much does he owe?
It's in the $20+ million range.
It's a lot of money, man.
But it's not something that he's been, it's not like deception.
No.
It's just neglect to pay.
Neglect. And it's also like, I think, and there is like a truth to this. He makes so much money. There's probably a point when they're like, hey, it's time to pay your taxes. And you go like, all right, here's a check for $25 million. That's an incredible amount of money. And then they go, that's true, but you owe 50 more. And he's just like, that can't be right.
You know
I've
what's
given
not
you
good?
$25 million.
Yeah, he's bought over 100 luxury cars from the same dealer and always pays in cash.
He has $15 million worth of cars.
Congrats. You can sell those.
And that's where the discussion starts getting far more interesting, because Floyd Mayweather built the entire Money Mayweather image around endless wealth, private jets, luxury watches, massive cash displays, and the appearance of an unstoppable financial empire. However, reports circulating throughout the business world suggest the reality behind that image may be far more complicated than many fans originally believed.
Floyd Mayweather is made, and because he's the best in the history of pay-per-view at making sure that the money ends up in his pocket. He is or has been a businessman as an athlete that almost doesn't have a peer because he owns all his own stuff as an independent. Your spending has to be so fiscally irresponsible to lose the amount of money that Floyd Mayweather has lost that it is almost beyond anything that is reason. It's not merely fiscal insanity. It's something that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And another sign of him maybe in financial trouble is, as of February 2026, Floyd Mayweather has initiated a massive $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Networks and former executive Steven Espinoza. So he's trying to get some bread right now.
The estimate is that he made over $1.2 billion over the course of...
According to Business Insider, some of Floyd Mayweather's commercial properties reportedly faced foreclosure problems, while his Las Vegas strip club building was also linked to unpaid property tax issues. Combined with lawsuits over alleged unpaid luxury watch and jewelry purchases, claims Floyd has denied, the conversation around his wealth quickly shifted from luxury and success to growing financial questions.
Said that, I mean, things that they said in this article were insane. That Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment. His private jet fuel, he's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million loan.
The report also claimed that 2 Trump Las Vegas condos connected to Floyd Mayweather were temporarily seized over unpaid taxes before later being returned after payment was made. Another report mentioned a massive $54 million loan that allegedly used his homes, private jet, and businesses as collateral. Whether those stories are being exaggerated or misunderstood, they've added even more fuel to the debate surrounding Floyd's financial image. Joe Rogan's skepticism had already sparked questions, but then Chael Sonnen entered the conversation with an even more direct reaction, basically arguing that people shouldn't act surprised by the rumors at all.
What's wrong with that? And why are we attempting to tease Floyd? Is Floyd Mayweather? Yes, he's broke. Of course he's broke. He's a boxer that they say can't read. That's not to tease him. They say that he can't read. His best friend at the time said that he can't read, and he never denied it. I don't tease him for it. He was a guy who grew up in a boxing channel, right? And it's one of these things. You know what you know. You know what you were taught. I didn't teach him about contracts. I didn't teach him about saving. I didn't teach him about investments. Who would have taught him these things? Of course he's broke.
He basically turned the question back on the audience, asking why people act shocked when fighters continue competing for money, pointing out that most people work every week for the exact same reason. That's classic Chael Sonnen, part blunt honesty, part trolling. But he went even further by challenging the massive financial myths surrounding boxing, arguing that many of the billion-dollar earning claims and huge pay-per-view numbers often come from promotional headlines rather than publicly verified records. Sonnen also pointed out that the companies handling the actual pay-per-view sales rarely confirm those enormous figures themselves, a statement that immediately cast doubt on years of exaggerated boxing money narratives.
He's a gambling addict. He's got baby mamas all over the... What do you mean is he broke? Of course he's broke. What boxer do you know that isn't broke? What a ridiculous question. But it's the fact that they're attempting to tease him. I mean, first off, they're asking the question. Look, I've told you until I'm blue in the face. The numbers that you hear in boxing simply aren't true. Floyd made $1 billion. No, he didn't. Floyd and Conor made $500 million. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. Nobody's ever confirmed that. And it's the same thing with the check. I got $100 million for a fight. Oh, you did? Who signed the check? Whoever signed the check is going to want credit for it. There's never been a time that $1 million check was written and the dude that wrote the check didn't make sure that somebody found out he wrote the check. So who wrote the check? Floyd's got a whole bunch of them, apparently. He got $1 billion. Who wrote the check?
At the same time, Chael Sonnen wasn't just criticizing Floyd Mayweather. He was taking aim at the entire way sports organizations sell financial narratives to the public. He then shifted toward the reported contract confusion, arguing that Floyd publicly announcing multiple fights while still being linked to a Mike Tyson matchup would frustrate any promoter, since timing and exclusivity are critical in the fight business. Sonnen also pointed out the irony of Floyd accusing Showtime of questionable business practices while chaos and confusion continued surrounding his own fight negotiations.
And I'm only sharing with you, like, the numbers aren't what you think they are, right? The numbers are good and they made a lot of money, but it's not what you think it is. And yeah, of course Floyd's broke. Would you be boxing if you weren't? And it's very tough to be.
While critics accused Floyd Mayweather's own promotional side of creating similar confusion during the Logan Paul situation, the entire narrative started feeling like a cycle where every side viewed the other as the real problem. But in the middle of all that chaos, Chael Sonnen accidentally highlighted a major contradiction. People can question Floyd's finances, doubt the reported paydays, criticize the contracts, or dismiss the exhibitions. Yet the moment Mayweather's name appears on a fight poster, the entire combat sports world still immediately pays attention.
Floyd Mayweather owes Logan Paul $1.3 million. No, he doesn't. Just to clear that up, no, he doesn't. Will Logan ever get the money? I think Floyd's broke. Floyd does not owe Logan $1.3 million. Floyd's promotion owes Logan $1.3 million. And no, of course he's not going to get it. That promotion's already shut down.
Chael Sonnen had already added fuel to the rumors surrounding Floyd Mayweather's finances. But once Jason Whitlock and his panel joined the discussion, the conversation shifted into something that sounded more like a financial investigation than a boxing debate. Whitlock leaned into theories from Shannon Sharpe and others suggesting Floyd's return to the spotlight is heavily connected to chasing another enormous payday. The moment names like Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, and Terence Crawford entered the conversation, the business side of everything became obvious, since those are the kinds of super fights capable of generating massive global revenue. Shannon argued those are the only matchups big enough to attract the kind of money Floyd would even consider coming back for, turning the discussion from simple speculation into a breakdown of boxing's biggest possible attractions. Then Whitlock shifted the tone completely by referencing Rocky and asking the classic question, "Why do you fight?" which unexpectedly pushed the debate into a deeper and more philosophical direction about motivation, legacy, and money in combat sports.
Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco suggested on their podcast that Floyd Mayweather is talking about coming back, unretiring.
He is.
Because he's broke.
Yeah.
Let's play the clip here of Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco.
There are only 3 fights that Floyd can have. He ain't gonna have no choice.
Because the reality is, Floyd Mayweather built his entire identity around the connection between money and success, even transforming his image from pretty boy to Money Mayweather. Jason Whitlock pointed out the harsh irony in that, explaining that when a public figure builds their brand entirely around wealth, even small rumors about financial problems can explode into massive headlines overnight. Dre then added a more practical perspective, arguing that the real issue isn't necessarily how much Floyd earned throughout his career, but what people don't know about his actual liquidity, debts, taxes, business obligations, and expensive lifestyle behind the scenes. In other words, there may be a huge financial iceberg hidden beneath the luxury cars, watches, and social media flexing. As the panel joked about gamblers losing fortunes, IRS problems, and extreme spending habits, the conversation started making Floyd's career look less like a simple victory story and more like a complicated financial mystery. But the funniest contradiction came at the end of the debate. While some people questioned the idea of a nearly 50-year-old Floyd stepping back into the ring, others quietly admitted what every boxing fan already knows. If Mayweather announces a fight against names like Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, or Manny Pacquiao, the same people criticizing him today will still be watching the moment the bell rings.
$1 billion and he's 47 years old and he's completely broke. He's won the prize. This is, of all the idiots that we've seen out there, celebrities, actors, entertainers that have lost a lot of money, this guy would take the cake. To blow a bill before he even hits 50 is unimaginable. It actually is sad. It's a cautionary tale. We have seen it time and time again. But who actually wants to watch this guy fight? Like, people that love him. If he comes out and if he loses and looks terrible and gets destroyed, well, look, if you love him or hate him, you can say, well, he's nearly 50 years old. This doesn't prove anything.
Whitlock and that panel already turned the Floyd comeback story into a financial court.
Whitlock and the panel had already turned the Floyd Mayweather comeback talk into something that felt like a financial courtroom debate. But then Andre Ward stepped in and immediately changed the tone. The conversation shifted away from speculation and headlines into something far more grounded, almost like insight from someone who actually understands what it means to live the fighter's life. Ward began by acknowledging his respect for Floyd's discipline and work ethic, pointing out that people often forget that behind the flashy image, the cars, jets, and luxury lifestyle, there was always an extremely disciplined gym-first athlete who never skipped the grind. He also admitted he feels conflicted about the idea of Floyd returning, not in a critical way, but in a more thoughtful and honest sense, which made his perspective stand out from the rest of the debate. Ward explained that boxing doesn't just become a career, it becomes part of a fighter's identity, shaped by the adrenaline, the spotlight, and the massive fight night moments that normal life simply can't replace.
Part of that is because of the way Floyd Mayweather goes about his business. He's been filthy rich. He's made his name, his legacy, and a lot of his reputation wasn't just the boxing, it was the money. It's the money man. What I have, what I'm driving, what I'm living in, what I'm flying in. And a lot of people, they don't like that. I don't know if Floyd Mayweather had more supporters for most of his fights or more haters, but regardless of where you fall on that line, Floyd Mayweather made it work for him when many people, promoters included, networks included, early on didn't think that he can do it.
That's the kind of perspective only a former world champion can really bring. Ward then shifts into the Pacquiao discussion, and the tone starts to feel more analytical again. He makes an interesting point that older fighters can sometimes produce more action in the ring because they can't rely on constant movement the way they used to, meaning less footwork, more exchanges, and that alone challenges the idea that a veteran matchup would automatically be slow or boring. But Ward also highlights the bigger concern that comes with age in combat sports. The mind still believing it's operating at peak level while the body is no longer fully capable of responding the same way. That disconnect has been at the center of many difficult moments in boxing history. Even so, Ward admits that while he would personally prefer both legends enjoying retirement away from the spotlight, curiosity always takes over, because when two iconic names with unfinished history step back into the ring, the entire boxing world ends up watching regardless.
He's gonna watch a fighter. He'll say he don't watch him, but he'll watch any potential opponent over and over and over, and he has to process, can he do anything with me? How does my skill set line up with his? Can I beat him? The problem with being 49 years of age is sometimes your brain can see things and tell you things that your body's not in agreement with. That's the problem with age. Your brain is still saying, I'm him. Your brain is still saying, man, I'm Money Mayweather. Man, these youngsters can't deal with me. But your body is saying, brother, we can't.
And when you zoom out on the entire situation, it really feels like four different worlds colliding at once. Joe Rogan is questioning the financial empire narrative. Chael Sonnen is tearing apart the mythology behind boxing paydays. Jason Whitlock's panel is breaking down the business and lifestyle side of the sport. And Andre Ward brings it back to the fighter's mindset, reminding everyone that boxing gets embedded in a person in a way money alone can't replace. One side of the debate insists Floyd's comeback is purely about another massive payday. Another argues the financial rumors are overblown and based more on speculation than fact. Meanwhile, Ward's perspective adds something deeper, suggesting that fighters often return because the spotlight, competition, and adrenaline are experiences that normal life simply can't replicate. At the heart of it all, the real tension becomes legacy versus longevity, business versus passion. And whether Floyd is chasing money, history, or simply that Money Mayweather feeling again, the discussion itself proves his lasting influence, because whenever his name is involved, the entire sport stops and debates every angle.
That's the struggle, and that's the danger of coming back at this age. So part of me wants to see these guys continue to make money. Part of me wants to see these guys, how do they do it at this age? Man, show me something. Show me how your mind can overtake the deficiencies you may have in your body at your age. But the deeper part of me, man, I want to see Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao on a beach somewhere, living off the fruits of their labor, helping the game however they see fit to help the game, and just watching the next generations do what they do. But hey, we got to fight September 19th.
Now I want to hear your opinion on this. Do you think Floyd Mayweather's potential return is driven by money, a genuine love for the sport, or unfinished business and legacy moments like Manny Pacquiao? Drop your thoughts in the comments so we can really break it down together. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Headquarters for more boxing breakdowns and updates.